Hello, everyone. I'm Josh Ochs, and you're listening or watching the smartsocial.com podcast. We're live here in Los Angeles, California, and I have three awesome students here today. Two of them have their dads in the room, and we are talking about Fortnite. We're talking about everything gaming, shoot 'em up style gaming. Perhaps you've heard of Fortnite, perhaps you've heard of other games that are out there, and here's a little bit of what it's all about. Number one, you start with about 100 players. You get thrown out of an airplane, you land on a little island, and you're searching for all of your opponents, right? Trying to win. And you've probably heard of how the games work. You are shooting at people, and yes, people die or they're injured, but I want to hear it straight from the students. Now, Mr. David Kaufman is here with us here today. Mr. Kaufman, welcome. He set this up here today, some of his students from his classes. Now, first, we have Kyle in the 4th grade. And then we have Keenan in the 6th grade, and we have Kellen in the 6th grade as well. We also have Kyle's dad, Nick, and then Kellen's father, Ryan, in here today. Students, thank you so much for joining us. I want to ask you a question first. The biggest question on our mind is, number one, what do you wish other parents knew earlier on as students are playing these games? And we're going to start with Kellen. Kellen, what do you wish more parents knew about Fortnite and why students either like it or how parents could work with their students a little bit more?
I think that it's basically after school. I don't really see my friends afterward, so I'll play Fortnite and hang out with them in game.
Okay, awesome. And let's, Kyle, tell us a little about what you wish that adults knew about Fortnite.
Well, it's just fun to play with your friends and you get to hang out with them.
Awesome. Kyle, I'm going to have you speak up just a little bit more because it's hard to hear. Hey, Keenan, what do you wish your adults knew? What do you wish your parents knew about Fortnite that they don't know?
So you can't pause it because it's an online game. And my parents have always said, hey, can I talk to you? Can you pause your game? And I have to constantly tell them I can't pause it because that pauses other players.
Now, that's a big nugget. Parents, if you're listening right now, you can't pause it. Correct me if I'm wrong, the game lasts 20 minutes from start to finish, but you might die or be injured earlier in that 20 minutes. Am I right, students?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a really good tip. I wish my parents knew that you can't pause the game. Keenan, thank you so much for that one. Let's move on to question 2. What's your favorite thing about the game? What do you love about Fortnite? Kellen, what's your favorite thing?
Probably just, again, hanging out with your friends and cousins and just having fun and winning some games.
Okay. All right. So hanging out. So you're talking about chatting with them. Kellen, are there other people in the chat room who you don't know when you're playing with your cousins and your family members?
Sometimes, like there will be times that just some of my friends that I have on Fortnite that I play with other times, they'll join my party and I'll say, sorry, I can't play with you. I'm playing with my cousin.
Are they friends of friends or are they random people?
They're my friends. I know them from school and stuff.
Oh, got it. Got it. So they're people you've met. They're just,
Yeah.
hey, I want to keep a smaller group right now, play on another game.
Could there be strangers? Or...
I think what? Oh, go ahead.
My dad just asked, can there be strangers? There can be if they send you a friend request and you accept it. So I never accept friend requests from people I don't know.
Okay, we're going to dive into the strangers online because I want to get your tips straight from all of you. Hey, Kyle, what do you love about Fortnite? Give us, is there a specific thing maybe in the last week or two? Is it hanging, especially during quarantine, talking with people you can't see at school? What's your most specific part of what you love? Nice and loud if you could.
Playing with my friends because I get to talk with them and battle them, like do a 1v1 or play duos with them. Or do
Awesome.
something, because we can't go outside, so it's fun to play with them online.
Absolutely. Keenan, what do you think? What's your favorite part? Is it something specific?
Since a lot of my friends aren't online when I am, my favorite part about Fortnite specifically is the fact that you can build.
Can you describe that, explain that for parents who don't know?
So you can place walls, you can place stairs, you can place cones, you can place floors.
Awesome. So you can build certain parts of it, right? So you have to go around
Yeah.
and awesome. Mr. Kaufman, let's hear from the dads here real quick. What do you guys think about Fortnite?
I would say early on, I was maybe hesitant with it being like a shooter game and things like that, just some things I had heard about it. But we kind of talked about sort of how to manage it responsibly. I asked a lot of questions of like, what is it? In terms of the online interaction was kind of my biggest concern, is if he's hearing other kids getting upset about how the game's going or something like that. But then once we kind of work through that, I would say he's used it really responsibly.
Awesome. And Kyle's father, Nick, what do you think about this game?
Similar thoughts to Ryan. I was concerned at first, but clearly the kids are having a lot of fun, and so as long as they do it in a responsible way, they're having a blast. The parents of the kids that our kids are playing with are texting us and saying there's nothing more than what our kids are looking forward to when they get up is playing Fortnite online with your kids, and so obviously you want to foster that, but there are concerns around the length of time and, obviously strangers. So there's pros and cons.
Yeah. So let's talk about that actually next. Let's talk about strangers. Students, raise your hand if you've ever seen strangers on Fortnite. Have you ever had anybody pop in and chat with you? Keenan, tell us about what happened and then what you think we should know.
So I was playing random squads at one point where you get filled with 3 other people that can chat with you. And I had my mic volume up so I could hear everything of what they were saying.
Okay, so let us know kind of what dialogue with us, because we don't kind of know what happened. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, I think they were in a lobby together, which is they were all grouped up and they could chat with each other in private. But they decided to use team chat, which I could hear.
Got it. Team chat. Hey, Kyle and Kellen, have you guys ever heard of people, kind of just random people popping in there? And no? Okay, cool. So you have it locked down. So you're just chatting with your friends on Fortnite, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. What do you think? Do you think we should have a limit on how many games? What do you think is healthy? Because you guys have played a lot, right? What do you think is healthy? Do you think we should have a limit on how many games we should play in an evening?
I would probably say more time-wise than games, because in games they can last from 1 minute to 20. So it was probably like 2 hours would be enough, and then 30-minute break, then maybe a bit more if they want.
Okay, so 2 hours plus a break plus more. Okay. Kyle, what do you think? Do you think 2 hours is too much, too little? What do you think?
It's probably about good, and then take a break and have some more time, maybe at night or something.
Okay. Kellen, let me ask you this question. Do you think that this affects your sleep? Do you think that late night, like if you're going to game right before you go to bed, do you think it affects how you sleep?
No, not really. I mean, they always tell me that, hey, it's time for bed, finish up this game, and then go upstairs and go to sleep. So I just do that. They won't like, yeah, you can just go until you get tired. So I'm just out when they tell me.
What would, if a student doesn't have a parent that tells them when to stop, Kellen, do you have any tips on when a good time to stop might be? We're just trying to figure this out for all the students here right now, for everybody listening. What I'm trying to hint at is there's no gotcha movement here. It's just merely, how can students share? There's studies that come out that says that Fortnite is as addictive as other substances, right? I mean, raise your hand if you ever felt like you've played longer than you thought you would. Is anybody ever? And raise your hand if Fortnite is kind of something you think about a lot. Anybody? Right? Yeah. And so what I'm trying to get at is there something we can ask ourselves so that we know when to put it down, when to go, all right, this is enough. This is how I do it. Mr. Kaufman, what do you think? What are you seeing with students in your classes?
I think a lot of times I've seen a lot of students, they have to be taught how to limit themselves, because I think when they all of a sudden have this, not power, but this equipment, that they want to use it, and that's all they can think about. Hey, we're going to do this for 5 hours, and then I'm going to go to bed, and it's going to take me an hour before I get to bed because I'm still amped up from playing the video games. I think also the screen time, you have to watch out for the screen time. I've known students in my class that talked about how they get up in the morning and they game, they get something to eat, they go back to the basement and they game for the rest of the evening. I think it's something that parents in general need to watch and monitor and almost teach their kids how to do, just like how parents teach their kids how to read or working on math facts. It's something that kids just don't learn when to shut it off. Maybe you get a golden egg and you got a kid that does know when to shut it off. But majority of kids are not built to tell themselves, I need to turn this off and walk away. They need to be taught that.
I agree. Students, for all the students who's here, forgive me, I get a random, I don't know why, but I'm getting a random call. Okay, so one of the things I like to think about, tell me if you think this is crazy, but I like to think about screen time as ice cream. I love ice cream, and if you gave me a 2-gallon or gallon of ice cream of my favorite flavor, and I sat down on the couch with Netflix, I probably would not know when to stop, right? I'd have a spoon, I'd be like, this is great. And I would only know at the time a point where I'm probably pretty sick, right? Because I'd eat it, right? And I think that Fortnite can, and I think ice cream can actually be in a small quantity, ice cream can be really, really awesome. I'm all for it. But if I give myself a gallon, I won't know when to stop. But we believe, and I don't want to seem like I'm out of touch, but we believe, scientists as well agree, that when we have a lot of screen time and we don't have a goal, as Mr. Coffin was just saying, all of a sudden it's not a small quantity. We're just eating the whole gallon, and we won't know when to stop until it's maybe too late and have adverse effects on us, as sugar might do. Students.
Josh, I do have another point I wanted to bring up about something earlier, talking about why kids play Fortnite. Maybe, and it's probably more popular with boys than girls in that. But middle school boys do not call middle school boys up on the phone and just talk to talk. They call their friend and say, hey, you want to come over and play? Hey, you want to go do this? Okay, what time? Let's do it this time. And that's the end of the story, probably. Okay. So they're not, I don't think middle school kids really want to sit on the phone and just talk. And this way they're on Fortnite, and it gets them talking to each other and communicating with each other while playing a video game that they like in common.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. All right, let me ask another question. What do you think would be a good, this is going to be impossible and they might not have an answer, but is there something else that you think that would be just as fun instead of Fortnite? If your parents said, get off Fortnite, do whatever you want, is there something else that other students should know that could be a cool replacement? Kyle?
Like play a board game or something.
Okay, board game, awesome. Kellen?
I usually practice sports when parents say get off. I usually go outside and play lacrosse.
Okay, awesome. Keenan?
So you have to kind of find a hobby that's not related to electronics.
What's yours?
I haven't really found one.
Okay.
So probably should work on that.
That's a good tip right there. We're getting somewhere. Find a hobby not related to electronics. Hey, Kyle, do you have one of those? Do you have a hobby that's not related, that's kind of an offline hobby?
Playing Uno.
Uno? Yeah, that's cool. Okay. I'm going to call it offline hobby. I think that's a really good one, Keenan. It's a good tip. And then one last thing. What are some tips that you think other students should know as they're getting started in Fortnite? Yeah, Kellen?
Know that it's probably gonna end up being at least 15 minutes. So if you got like 5 minutes to just chill out, I'd probably watch a YouTube video or just sit down and relax for a little bit until your parents or whatever you got to do happens, because it's usually going to take at least 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
So watch your time.
Yeah, because you can't pause it. What would you guys, so once again, what would you tell students who are just getting into it or playing it for the first time, or maybe parents who are frustrated with students? What would you tell them that they should maybe warn about? Perhaps it's, should you just join a random group that you want to chat with, or should you go with your friends? Like what safety tips would you have? Kyle, do you have any ideas there or suggestions for newbies?
Probably just go with your friends.
Okay. Awesome. Keenan?
Probably just try to stay solo unless it's your friends that you know well.
Is it as much fun if you're not chatting with people?
For me, because I'm not that social, it's probably just as fun.
Okay. Kellen, what do you think?
Sometimes when I play solo games, I like listen to different kinds of music, and I have a setting on that's visual sounds, so I can hear footsteps, but I can also listen to my music. So
Got it. Awesome. All right, dads, let's hear from you. What do you guys think about all this?
Well, I would say two things. One, I think we touched on it earlier. I think time can fly by when they go to get on, and so I think back to your point earlier, it's probably better to set a time limit early on, because once they start and you haven't done it, it's tough to pull them back away from it when you realize, oh my gosh, they're playing for 5 hours. I should have set a time limit for 2. It's probably a lot easier to do that earlier on. And then I think the second thing is just, making sure that, they are picking the right time to be on, because I know for us, they want to be on with all their different friends. And I think Kellen alluded to it, or someone did, that not all their friends are on at the same time. And so it's like, well, I was playing with Billy. He's off now, but Bob's on, so I want to play with Bob. And so now all of a sudden it's 5 hours. So I don't know if there's a way to, coordinate with your core group of friends so that you're all on at the same time. So if one of the benefits is talking to your friends, you can do it all at once, if that makes sense.
I like that. That's a really good That's a really good tip. Coordinate so that all your friends are playing at the same time.
Hey, Josh, a suggestion I would think would be very helpful is discussing with the parents, discussing with the other parents about, when they were going to get on. Maybe somehow coordinate that, maybe, hey, you can play, or at least let everyone else know, hey, my child's going to be on only after his schoolwork, and it's going to be at 7 o'clock at night. He's going to have the 7 to 8 o'clock window after he gets his homework done, or something like that. Having that good open communication with the kids' other parents, I think, is very beneficial for the family. So there's no arguments or anything.
Yeah, we call it predictable window of game time, play time.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good tip as well. Kellen's father, Ryan, what do you think?
I would say when he first started, I was concerned that from what I saw with other kids that he was just going to get sucked into this and play it all the time. So I think the big thing I would tell parents is like, try to have those conversations up front of like, here's the expectation. We're going to let you try this. But here's the parameters of like time frames of when you're gonna be able to play. And I would say he also kind of ebbs and flows, and in times when we're busy in sports season, it's a nice little break every now and then, but he doesn't do it much. Those rainy days where there's not a whole lot going on, if he doesn't have other things to do, we're a little more lax of, okay, like you can have a little more time today. And I think that's okay to have that sort of balance there.
Yeah, I like that. Expectations up front. Awesome. This has been great, guys. Are there any other tips or any other frustrations, students, that you might have that you would want to tell people? Is there anything that you've seen on Fortnite? Or, you know what, let me ask this question. Do you guys feel like you get amped up before bed? For instance, you're playing and you're getting amped up, and I asked you earlier, does it affect your sleep? And you guys said no. But I don't want to seem difficult, but I would strongly disagree. And the data shows humans playing this at night absolutely changes your sleep. Is there a time when you might feel energized, right? Looking at a screen right before bed or an hour before even, having the headphones on, being active at this. Have you ever noticed that maybe you can't go to sleep as quickly because you're amped up? Yeah, Keenan.
So I would say stop playing the games that get you amped up like an hour or two before you go to bed, and just sit on the couch and watch TV, or just do something that doesn't really amp you up.
Yeah. Is that a good phrase, Keenan? Getting amped up? Is that a good phrase that students would understand? If I were to be on stage with 1,000 people and give a tip to students so that they could better understand a vocabulary that describes how they might feel, is amped up a good one? Is it hooked? Is it I'm very focused on Fortnite? What do you think is a good phrase?
I think that would work, and I can't really think of another one. So.
Okay. Kyle, what do you think? Do you think have you ever gotten amped up right afterward where you're like just buzzing with Fortnite, the Fortnite feeling?
Yeah, probably a couple times.
Okay. How does that make you feel?
Energetic. I just wanna play, do a lot of stuff. I don't really want to go to bed.
Yeah. So do you think a 1 to 2 hour window before bed is helpful?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Kellen, what do you think?
There is sometimes where I'm like, I got like second place twice, and I'm just like, I'm super close. I can almost get it. I can almost get the win. But my parents are like, come on, Kellen, you gotta go to bed. And then I'm like, come on, I just want one more game. And
Yeah.
then they say no, so.
Hey, students, do you think that someone your age could be addicted to Fortnite?
Yeah, I know some of my friends who in quarantine have like just absolutely done almost zero homework and just done Fortnite.
Kyle?
Yeah, I know a couple people that are addicted, and that's all they want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that's good? Do you think they develop more relationships with people or less relationships? Like, what do you think? And I'm not against Fortnite. I'm all for it. Like ice cream. I'm all for small quantities of ice cream every night or whenever. But what do you think playing too much Fortnite does to us? I want to hear it from you. I don't want to be the one to say it.
Well, it could hurt your eyes, and it could make you like all violent and stuff because it's a pretty violent game.
Okay. Yeah.
I disagree. I don't think video games make you violent. I think it's what you're exposed to in school or with your friends. And parents just think, oh, video games must cause the violence. Because I don't think that his friends are violent or he's not being exposed to any violence.
Okay. So that's an interesting thing, and scientists are proving in some interesting data. So let's come back to that, Keenan. I think that's interesting. Kellen, what do you think? Do you think, first of all, people can get addicted to Fortnite, and second of all, do you think that the violence we're exposed to makes us more violent or less violent? What do you think?
People can get addicted, and I know one of my friends is a streamer, and he streams on a platform called Twitch, and he can get violent sometimes. He can just start screaming and get mad at something, but there are some times where he's just like the most laid back kid you'll ever meet. So there are some times that he can get mad or angry or.
Okay. Interesting. I will tell you that we're coming out with a new Fortnite course. You guys are probably going to be in it, this conversation. And there are studies that show that we are, as humans, after watching a violent movie, they did tests, they put people in Finding Nemo, something like that, very G-rated, and then somebody else, and then another group of students in a very violent movie. And when they came out of the theater, they staged somebody, a young woman with crutches who had fallen and dropped her crutches, couldn't pick them up. And the students who had gone into Finding Nemo were quick to aid that person, quick to be empathetic to help that person. The students who had seen the violent film were much slower to help the person who had fallen, who needed help picking their crutches up. Actual scientific data, a bunch of different movies, different ratings, different things. And the status shows that we will be less empathetic or much slower, much more numb. Numb is in the title of the research project, to helping others when we've participated in violent movies. Another study, which I have here somewhere, shows that people are in a laboratory, they're playing violent video games versus another one like Roblox, right? Let's say Fortnite versus Roblox. The students who played Fortnite, both groups, heard a fight outside, a faked fight, right? An emulated fight. They heard people yelling and there's punches and everything. And the people who are playing Fortnite said that the fight, compared to the students who were playing something like Roblox, a very non-violent, family-oriented building thing, The people who are playing a violent video game claimed that the fight either didn't happen or was much smaller than it really was, or were a lot slower to notice the fight. We're finding that yes, it might not send you to school to do something violent towards somebody, but it may numb us to what we see. What do you guys think about that? Is that something that you've seen at school in friends?
So, about Roblox, I think they were probably playing on the nicer side of Roblox, because there's definitely shoot 'em up games in Roblox.
That's a great point. And I got to be honest, they weren't playing Roblox. I use that as an example. So I appreciate that. I was using that as imagine a G-rated game, right? So tell me, but that's a very good point, Keenan. Kellen, what do you think about that? Do you have any friends at school that might have gotten a little numb to something by playing Fortnite?
Yeah, the same kid that streams, there was a fight between two kids, and he was one of the kids' best friends, and he was just standing there on the track where it happened, just standing there looking straight, just thinking, what should I do? And then he reacted maybe a minute later.
Interesting. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, it'd probably make people slower, and they wouldn't just go help somebody immediately when they need help. They'd probably take a couple minutes to be like, okay, I need to go help them.
Yeah. Interesting. It's interesting data. Hey, students, I want to thank you, and parents as well. And Mr. Kaufman, big shout out to you. Mr. Kaufman, I'm going to give you a final word. What do you think of all this as a teacher? I know it's quarantine, it's weird, but you do keep in touch with the families, I believe, in the school district. You're also a swim coach. And what do you think of all this?
I think everything is okay in moderation. And I think it's a perfect example with ice cream, because I love ice cream to death. But I think parents need to make sure they have control of how much time they are spending on electronics, on Fortnite. And really, a lot of Fortnite might go back to just, if you have a family that's raising you, the background of the family will help shape how far you take Fortnite as using it so much. And I think that everything is good in moderation. So I've never played Fortnite. However, maybe sometime I will try it.
So we got a few great tips. I'm going to leave everybody with this. One, you can't pause the game. I thought that was a really great tip. Make sure you have 15 minutes at least set aside to play a game, because you might die before the end of the 20 minutes, but at least 15 minutes. I love this. Kyle's dad, overlap or coordinate with all the friends groups so that you can all play at once to kind of get that time, be effective with your time, right? I thought that was a great tip. And then somebody else said, let's make a predictable window play time, 7 to 8 p.m., something around there. Have your expectations set out up front, and then stop playing games that get you amped up 1 to 2 hours before bedtime, because that might be the amount of window that it takes to reduce this. And then time limits. One of you said 2 hours plus maybe probably a break as well. And I really like that. We used words like amped up, screen time. And then there's something else. I'm really seeing a lot of trends with students as well. You guys are shoulder to shoulder doing something, which makes you want to talk. Students these days, parents who are listening to this, watching this, I know you're nodding your head. Students probably don't want to get on the phone and talk to each other, but if we're playing a game, they'll be more inclined to have that dialogue, which is awesome. Hey, I want to thank all of you students for coming out here today. And dads, it's really great to have you here today. Those of you who are watching, thanks so much. We'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day.